Libra, welcome to your monthly horoscope for August 2023. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this video, I will be going through all of the energy that you will be moving through for the month of August. If you align with my energy and you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the post notification bell so that you can get notified every time I upload a new monthly horoscope. So Libra, as soon as we come into the month, August 1st, we have that full moon in Aquarius, and this is happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house represents passion, play, pleasure, children, hobbies, interests. It's the house of fun. And so this full moon can really be activating all of those themes and topics for you, having you focus more on what you're passionate about, even maybe focusing on your children. And I'm sure some of you will be. But what I really want you to do is think back to January, because January 21st, 2023, we had the new moon in Aquarius. And so with these full moons that we have in Capricorn and Aquarius, the middle of the year, it's really a checking in point for those New Year's resolutions and even the direction that you really wanted to take at the beginning of the year. Are you still in alignment? Is there any changes that need to be made? So anything that you really wanted to get going back in January, or even anything that showed up or any intentions that you set, now is where you can start to see those intentions come to fruition. Or now you are kind of reflecting back to what you wanted to get going back at the beginning of the year and seeing, is that still in alignment? Do I still want to go in that direction? Or are there any changes that I have to make? Now, for the entire month of August, we are going to have Venus retrograde in Leo. And Venus, you have Leo in your 11th house. And so this can be a time where you are maybe having some reflecting on relationships in a sense. So you can be having issues with relationships. There can be not necessarily arguments, but maybe there's certain people in your life or friendships that are no longer in alignment. And so that can really all be coming to the forefront. This can also be when if you put anything online, or because the 11th house can also represent like online businesses, social connections. This is where maybe you are redoing something that you're wanting to put online, or going back and fixing something online. Now, because Venus retrograde can also have to do with our money, our finances, material possessions, and also our passions, what we need, want, and desire in life, and our relationships. This is where there can be a lot of focus on all of those themes and topics. We will eventually have Venus form a square to Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, which you have in the 8th house. Now, I want you to think back to June, because when Venus entered Leo, Venus formed a square to Jupiter and squared Uranus before she stationed retrograde. So think back to anything that maybe was showing up for you back in June that has to do with maybe your partner's finances, money coming in from outside resources, taxes, inheritance. And the 8th house can also even represent psychological transformation. It even has this death and rebirth kind of energy. So this can also be a time where you are really reprogramming those subconscious beliefs, habits, patterns, behaviors around, and see, the thing with the Venus is, because Venus does represent our desires. And so Venus can have this connection to addictions. I know for me, like, this is a time where I'm really having to watch my sugar addiction or my love for sugar. And so this is a time where we do want to be mindful of anything that's kind of showing up for us, or, those vices that we have, whether it is a sugar addiction or addictions to really anything. This is where we do want to be mindful and aware of anything that is showing up for us, especially around August 9th, when Venus forms that square to Uranus. That is where we can have something really unexpected coming in, something kind of out of the blue. It can be very sudden. This is where, and because you have Uranus and Taurus, which is in your 8th house, Venus in your 11th, this is where if you are putting something online, which I probably wouldn't, if you are a content creator or you do put anything online, I would not do it around this time, because there can be just some really unexpected hassle or feedback from it. So just, maybe watch for that. Now, August 10th, we're going to have Mercury form a trine to Jupiter, and Mercury is in Virgo, and you have Virgo in your 12th house. So with Mercury being in Virgo and that energy being in your 12th house, and the 12th house can really represent isolation, self-undoing, self-sabotaging, also just wanting to kind of gather your thoughts, come away from the world, regather your thoughts, take some time alone. This is a period of time where maybe you do want to do that. Now, we also have Mars in the 12th. You also have Mars in the 12th house, and Mars being in the 12th house is sometimes a time where it's really hard to find the motivation and the drive and the willpower to do the thing, however that's showing up for you. And so I find with Mars in the 12th house, this energy, the best way to work with this energy is you may not initially want to do the thing or feel like doing the thing or have the energy to do the thing. But I find if you can really push yourself, eventually it kind of just comes in naturally. And so with Mars kind of moving through your 12th house throughout the month, this may be a time where, yeah, you're having a hard time really finding the motivation. But if you just kind of push yourself into it, you will find that it just will flow in a lot easier. You just have to like give that initial push to start it and get it going. And like I said, you have Mercury in the 12th, which will eventually be forming a trine to Jupiter in the 8th. This is where you can even be hearing something or information coming in around your partner's finances or around money coming in from outside resources. If this is aligned with you, if you're trying to get a loan or trying to get financing for something, which I do just want to mention that while Venus is retrograde, we want to be really careful around signing any paperwork, documents, contracts that have to do with money and finances, because there can be something that's missed or not completely understood during the process. And then when Venus stations direct around September 3rd, something will come to the forefront where it will just take longer to process. And so there can just be some missed kind of things throughout the entire process or documents or whatever. So we do want to be careful. And August 23rd, we're going to have Mercury station retrograde, which is when we really don't want to be signing any paperwork. And so I suggest throughout the month of August, try not to make any commitments, or like if you can, sometimes it's out of our control and we can't really help it, but try not to sign on any dotted lines when it has to do with your money, your finances, or material possessions, anything along those lines if you can. And the fact that we have Uranus and Taurus, it really does bring in this kind of unexpected element where something can really show up that you weren't what's the word I'm thinking for, that you weren't really counting on. Basically, something can kind of show up unexpectedly. So yeah, just be careful around that throughout the month of August. Now, on August 12th and 13th, around that time period, we will have the Sun form a conjunction to Venus, and this will happen in your 11th house. And so this is where, if there is anything that you're moving through as far as friendships, online connections, online businesses, this is a time where there can be some insight coming in, or you can have a beautiful gift or blessing coming in to really help you along your journey or help you throughout this process. So definitely a time period where you want to be kind of mindful and aware of what is showing up for you so that you can take a hold of it, because it really truly can help you throughout this journey and however it's showing up for you. This can be with your friendships or however this kind of Venus retrograde energy is showing up for you. So just be mindful around August 12th and 13th, anything that is showing up. On August 17th, we're going to have Mars form a trine to Uranus, and because Mercury is only about 3 degrees away from Mars at this point, this is where you can hear some really nice energy, where you can hear some information coming in around your partner's finances or money coming in from outside resources, if that's aligned with you. This is also where you can get this kind of burst of insight. So you want to be journaling throughout the entire month, because Uranus is a key player throughout August. And Uranus is also known as the Great Awakener. And so when we have a lot of Uranus energy, especially connecting to Mercury, this is where we can get a lot of really sudden insights, a lot of intuitive downloads that truly can provide guidance and support along our journey. And so you want to make sure you're journaling, writing down all of those insights that are coming in, any intuitive downloads. And if you're driving, and this is something I do if I'm driving, I will use my voice notes on my phone, because the one thing I've noticed with Uranus insights is like when Uranus is kind of playing in this energy, is they come in very fast, and when you try to remember back, you can't remember, or I know at least I can't. And so if they're coming in really quick, or you're driving or whatever, try and pull over, or try and just like, record them, because these insights that are coming in can be very supportive on your journey, where even if you don't think they will, or you don't understand how, they can end up, really playing out beautifully. Now, on August 27th, we will have the Sun form an opposition to Saturn. And this is, so the Sun's going to enter Virgo, and this happens at 3 degrees. So 3 degrees of Virgo, and Saturn retrograde will be at 3 degrees of Pisces. And this is where this is really happening. You currently have Saturn in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routine. So this can even also show up as you wanting to, because the Sun's going to be in your 12th house, this can be a time where you're just not feeling like doing the thing. And because Saturn is in your 6th house of work, it can be where you're not feeling like working, you're not feeling like doing those commitments and responsibilities. And so this can be quite a challenging time for you that you just want to be aware of. Now, at this point, we will have Mars Mars getting ready to actually enter your 1st house, which can be nice. Mars in the 1st house. Now, depending on if you have a day chart or a night chart, and depending on if Mars is your most malefic planet, Mars transiting through your 1st house can actually bring in a lot of motivation and drive that you can really utilize. This opposition between the Sun and Saturn, Mars is like at that 29th degree, kind of getting ready to move into the 1st house. And so this energy, if you are feeling kind of like not doing the thing, or you're just struggling with your commitments and responsibilities, that's not going to last long. Just kind of ride the wave, try and sit with the energy. If you can, hold off on, doing anything if that's an option. And I also want to mention that you now have the South Node in your 1st house. And so this is really when you are starting to feel this energy of kind of realizing what in your life is not balanced, is out of alignment, and where you are starting to kind of have that need and will to release and let go of what is no longer in alignment. And because the South Node is in your 1st house, the North Node is in Aries in your 7th, this is over until January 2025. This is the beginning of where you are trying to balance out your relationships, balance out what you are giving in your relationships, what you're taking in your relationships. This can also be a time where you are really becoming conscious of the unconscious parts of yourself that you've been operating from, where maybe you've had these unconscious or subconscious beliefs around love, around self-love, around commitments and responsibility, or no, commitments and relationships, where, maybe you felt like you had to, maybe you felt like it was selfish to not do everything for everybody. And the most important thing to know and understand is that you have to fill your cup up first. If you're not filling up your own cup and you are not happy, whole, and complete, you can't really take care of anyone else. And as and we're not supposed to take care of anyone else. You're supposed to take care of yourself, and what matters is you, and that is not selfish. Now, we don't want to have ill will or ill intentions on anybody. We're not trying to say that you don't care about anybody else. What we're saying is that you have to fill your own cup up first. You have to take care of yourself. And if you're not happy, and not that you even have to depend on anyone else to make you happy, but if it's not balanced within those relationships and it's constantly give, and that other person is take, and they're never giving back, that's not a happy, healthy relationship. You will eventually become very depleted. You're giving too much of your energy away. And so this is a period of time where you really start to be conscious of all of that. You become aware. You start to realize that the people in your life that are not in alignment, that are taking, and you will start to feel that showing up now. And this will play out over the next year and a half. So overall, Libra, August can feel like a little bit of a tricky month because you have so much 12th house energy where you're not really feeling like socializing. You may not feel like really, having those connections or communicating, or you just want to kind of sit, gather your thoughts, have some alone time. And that is okay. This energy will pass. This is also a time where you may be trying to, do what you're passionate or get back to your hobbies and your interests and figure out what you're passionate about. And because basically there's this in conjunction between your 5th house and 12th house with that energy, there may be where you're wanting to get back into your hobbies or figure out what you're passionate about, but it's just not aligning. And so don't stress. That is okay. This energy will pass. This energy will pass, and just try not to stress out about it. A lot of what you're moving through right now is figuring out, the parts of your life that are not balanced and not in alignment. And so once we start leaving August and we move into September, things will start to kind of become a little bit easier because you won't have Mars in your 12th. You won't have the Sun in your 12th. And yes, we will still have Mercury retrograde at the beginning of September, but it will only be Mercury. It won't be the Sun and Mars. And so you will have a little bit more energy if this is something that you're kind of struggling with throughout the month of August. So I really hope that you enjoy this horoscope, and if you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I will connect with you in the next one.